Hi everybody. So, Pretty Bird and I have one more story to tell you guys. Now, this happened yesterday morning on our walk, and I was unable to get a video uploaded because everything going on, and then we had to head home because it was starting to get later in the day, and since we're in Arizona, it was starting to get really hot. And then frankly, I had forgotten, so I apologize. So basically, Pretty Bird and I, we were walking, right? And everything was all right. We're taking a walk. Pretty Bird's grazing, and I noticed this. Pretty Bird. I noticed this odd little baggie on the ground while we're walking. That's near a tree, and this little bag had little skulls on it, like a little itty bitty like Ziploc bag, about this big. So without touching it, I looked at it closely, and it was laying in the grass, like I said, near a tree. And I noticed that there was appeared to be marijuana inside the bag. Well, this is a large grass area, so if you haven't seen previous videos before, this is like a very large grass area that has a nice big playground, and then other areas right here for children and teenagers to play at. Do you see a plane, Pretty Bird? Pretty Bird, do you see a plane? Anyways, so in this case, I was concerned about what to do because I was a little whiles away from our house, and the nearest trash can is literally the trash can at the playground. And I wasn't sure what to do because there was still substance within the baggie, and I didn't want to incriminate myself. I didn't want to leave it and possibly put somebody in danger. Any animals or any humans or any small children, or young teenagers that might not have the best judgment. We've all known that person or been that person at one or another point. So I decided to call the local non-emergency police department, and I asked them what they recommended I do. I said that there is a trash can nearby at the playground. I wasn't sure about throwing it out there, or if I should dispose of it or carry it home, or if I should just leave it, or if I should wait for an officer to show. They said I didn't have to wait, but I could if I wanted to, and they would appreciate if I did, because frankly it would make it a lot easier for them to find it, because this is a pretty big grass field, and it's not like me saying it's right next to the tree is gonna be a very good description. You know what I mean? Like, there's a tree or two. So doesn't narrow it down. So I decided to agree to wait for the officer. And the funny part was, as I was speaking to the lady who answered the phone, who was, by the way, very kind, um, she she says, "So what are you wearing?" And I said, "Well, I'll be out here." I said, "I have a blue backpack on." I said, "I have a bluish backpack. I'm in all black." And I have my hybrid pet goose with me. I'm walking my pet goose." And she goes, "What?" And the way she said it was almost like "You're joking, right?" Like, and I was like, "Yes, I'm walking my pet goose." She goes, "Okay, so where are you gonna be?" And I was right at the cross streets, so that was very convenient. So I let her know the cross streets, and she said an officer would be there shortly to come and pick up the what did they call it? The property. And because there's no way. She said that the reason they wanted to pick it up was because there's always that possibility it could be laced with something, and that could always be connected to some bigger scenario. And also, they don't know if it might, connect to something that they need to know or something like that. She was very vague about that part. So that they basically preferred coming to get it. So I waited about. Officer actually responded pretty quickly. Um, so I waited about. I want to say about 10 minutes maybe. Um, which I would say for a non-emergency scenario, that's pretty fast. And an officer drove up in a truck, and to be honest, I did debate whether or not I should record my encounter with the officer, but I decided not to because, well, I had not committed a crime, and I had reported something that I considered to be of concern, and I don't think that an officer should be recorded by someone unless, they feel that they need to record the officer, like, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like to record an officer unnecessarily, if that makes sense. Like, if I feel like there's something going on, an officer's arresting someone, yes, I'll record if I feel that there's anything that appears to be off. If, my husband or myself or my children were in some way or form getting in trouble, yes, I would record to document, to have my own evidence too. Obviously that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But in this particular case, it was just simply, hey, I found this. It's right there. Okay, pick it up, go. That's what I figured. So the officer shows up, and the first thing he does is he says, oh, that lady really didn't need to get a clothing description considering that you have a pet goose. That's funny. I haven't seen that yet, and I've been a police officer for a long time. So, and we kind of chuckled about it, and he said, what kind of goose is she? So immediately I'm thinking, oh no, he thinks she's a Canada goose, he's gonna try to take her. So I was like, she's half Canada, but she's half farm goose, and I got her from a farm, and I'm kind of a little bit nervous about it. And he was like, oh no, I didn't like mean it that way, I just thought that she was an interesting looking goose. So he was just kind of fascinated with her and thought that she was really cool. And he even said himself it was obvious to him that she was not a purebred Canada goose. But he figured that she might be mixed. And he also said that unless it is something where he's 100% sure that somebody is breaking the law or committing a crime, like especially in the field of animals, he's not going to go, reporting or like, trying to take the animal away because she's a healthy goose. There doesn't appear to be anything wrong with her, and he's not going to accuse me of something that he doesn't know that I'm doing. And that's basically what he said. And I said, well, I appreciate that. And what's it called? I told him about the YouTube channel. I told him that Pretty Bird is loved, and that she's a good goose, and that she has her sassy moments, but that she behaves and that she doesn't attack anyone. And well, he was impressed. He thought that she was a really great goose. She even let him come really close. She kind of hung out with him and appeared to like him, which was nice. And then I showed him where the little baggie was, which was only a few feet away from where we were standing. And he proceeded to put on a plastic glove, and he picked up the little baggie and he put it in one of those evidence bags. And he said that they were going to make sure it wasn't laced or something. And like, I guess they like do a quick like location check, like to see if the location comes up, as in like recently something in connection to any kind of drugs. And other than that, they'll likely just dispose of it as found evidence or something like not found found. They'll list it as found property or something like that. I didn't fully understand what he was saying, to be honest. Pretty Bird was kind of honking in that moment, so I probably misunderstood part of what he was saying there. But then he very politely he explained to me that he thought it was great that I called in to ask, that that he's glad that that I felt comfortable calling in and asking, and about what to do, and that that he really cares, that he's a father himself, and that he understands why I called and why I, found disconcerting, why I didn't want anybody to get hurt. He also said that, oh, this is one of the things he said. He said it was better to call in and have a police officer pick up something that you believe might be a drug item that you find on the floor, for the simple fact that, say you pick it up with the full intent to throw it in the trash, like, I don't know, around a corner or something, or once you get home or something like that, right? If anybody sees you walking with it, like before you put it in your pocket or picking it up, they could just assume that you dropped it. Now they're going to assume that this is yours. It's going to have your fingerprints on it. And they could call the police on you and then be like, oh, we saw them dispose of it over there in this trash, or we saw them throw it in their dumpster. And the officers would check, and now how are you going to prove it's not yours? You know, other than the fact that you might come up clean on a UA, which is a urine analysis, but, you know, other than that, how are you going to prove it's not yours? And that kind of starts creating a problem for yourself. So he said that's one of the reasons why he recommends against disposing of items as such on your own that could be illegal in any way or form. And I thought it was a good point. I mean, if anybody would have said something while I'm, you know, after I picked it up, walking over to the playground over here to throw it in this trash, or walking home, you know, somebody would have reported me. A police officer could have easily pulled me over and then found, you know, marijuana on me, and I don't have a card. I don't have a marijuana card. So I would have been in trouble. I may have gotten charged, and that could have hurt my family. And you know, I'm a mother, and my husband is 100% disabled veteran, so and I also rely on student loans and assistance from the government. Due to the disabilities with my husband, our income is more restricted, so there's help that we could lose. There's complications that could come from a situation like that. So for me, it was definitely the right thing to do, and I appreciated the fact that the gentleman was very polite. The only question he asked me is when I found it, and I told him immediately and before I made the phone call. And he asked me if I moved it, and I said I never even touched it, which I didn't. And he asked me if I'd seen anything suspicious prior to finding it, and I said no, because I didn't see anybody around the area. I'm assuming it fell out of someone's pocket. And the officer was very polite. He was not accusative or anything like that. He asked how old the kids were. He asked if it would be okay if he took down my name, which I didn't mind, and my phone number, which I also didn't mind, in case they needed to call me back for any questions. And then we talked a little bit about 911, about, you know, children needing to know to call 911 and such. And I explained to him that my children are fully aware that we actually talk about that on a regular basis, especially with Dad having been in the military before, and being very big on safety and making sure that they're aware of how to protect themselves, and how to help others without getting themselves into a dangerous situation. And then he went on his way. And but it was kind of an odd situation, because this is not exactly the kind of neighborhood where I've ever, like, I don't know. It's just not the neighborhood where I expected to randomly find drugs laying on the floor. But then again, I mean, for all I know, this could have very well been, you know, prescription marijuana that somebody just placed in a different baggie. So, you can't really say that either. But, it was just an odd find. It threw me off. I was like, what? Wait. Either somebody's really upset or really scared right now. You know, because from what I hear, prescription marijuana that you purchase is also not cheap. So in that sense, if that's what it was, then I feel bad for the person that lost it, because I'm sure that was an inconvenience, especially right now while we're all struggling financially. Anyways, it was an interesting experience. It definitely shook me for a second and had me thinking, trying to figure out what to do, what was the right thing to do in this very moment. It's kind of funny how we sometimes are in situations where there's multiple options, and even though we're trying to do the right thing, we could very well do something really bad, or we could somehow hurt ourselves in the process of trying to help. And whenever I'm in those situations, I usually try to ask someone who I think is the best source to ask, which in this case I felt was a non-emergency line. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about the experience. It was kind of funny though, because Pretty Bird kind of walked up to him over and over again. She would flap her wings, and he kind of like would be like, oh. And Pretty Bird was just, you know, she was just flapping her wings like she does, doing a big bird. And I was like, oh, she's not gonna attack you. It's okay, don't worry. You know, and he was like, oh yeah, it's okay. But you could tell he was like kind of like, wow, that's different. That's a different kind of animal. And it was an interesting situation because he was definitely very interested in her and fascinated with having a pet goose. And then he also actually said that he's actually been to multiple homes around these neighborhoods that have pet ducks and pet chickens. So I was very much surprised at that in this neighborhood and these neighborhoods that apparently there are more people who have, you know, waterfowl or other usually found on farms, so farm birds, that they have as pets in their homes, which I thought was kind of cool, that I'm not the only one here. But I've never seen anybody else. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about our little police encounter. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Enjoyed seeing Pretty Bird. Right, Pretty Bird? Pretty Bird, you say hi? Yeah, hi, everybody. Yeah, hi, everybody. What, you see the birdies? You see the birdies? What you see? What you see? Oh, pretty. So pretty. Alright, Pretty Bird, can you tell everybody? So if you like the video, don't forget to like it. And subscribe so you can see more videos. And comment. And don't forget to go back on the other video about name baby chick cockatiel. Right? So you can put in your name suggestion. And don't forget to share the video if you think that maybe your friends or family might enjoy it. Because we'd love to put a smile on their face too. And have them meet Pretty Bird. Yes, sir. Alrighty, y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye.